Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime on this Thursday with an episode of The Shadow and the Lives of Harry Lime and another Phyl Coe Mystery. That's what's coming up on this Thursday, 26th day of October, 299th day of the year, 66 days remaining until we get to 2024. The First Continental Congress adjourned on this date in 1774. The Erie Canal opened on this date in 1825, providing passage from Albany, New York to Lake Erie. The gunfight at the OK Corral took place in Tombstone, Arizona on this date in 1881. In 1936, the first electric generator at Hoover Dam went into full operation. In 1994, future Vice President and later President Harry Truman publicly denied ever having been a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The British military occupation ended in Iraq on this date in 1947, and in 1955, after the last Allied troops had left the country, and following the provisions of the Austria Independence Treaty, Austria declared its permanent neutrality. In 1958, Pan American Airways made its first commercial flight of the Boeing 707 from New York to Paris. On this date in 1965, the Beatles appointed members of the Order of the British Empire.
The man shouted out, George Harrison, John Lennon, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. And Starr was the cue.
Left foot forward.
Yes, we always started.
We were drilled beforehand by some big guardsman fella. And every time he was reading out the names and he got to Ringo Starr, he kept cracking up.
The Beatles knighted on this date in 1965. In 1972, U.S. National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger held out hope that the Vietnam War was nearing an end.
We believe that peace is at hand. We believe that an agreement is within sight. We cannot fail, and we will not fail over what still remains to be accomplished.
The Paris Peace Accords would eventually be signed, but not without bloodshed. In 1977, the last natural case of smallpox discovered in Somalia. The WHO and the CDC consider this date the anniversary of the eradication of smallpox, the most spectacular success of vaccination. Although I would say that there's a great deal of success in eradicating polio. In 1984, John D. McCullum shot and killed himself after spending a day listening to Ozzy Osbourne records. A lawsuit later filed by his parents over the song Suicide Solution. The case would eventually be thrown out. Also on this date in 1984, a baboon heart transplanted into a human infant known as Baby Faye.
Baby's heart started beating automatically without any exterior stimulation, and it started beating around 11:35 a.m. It was a very emotional experience for the transplant team. They, I understand, got teary-eyed, and some of them embraced each other.
Baby Faye would only live another 21 days, but it sparked a debate on the ethics of using infants and animals in this fashion. In 2000, the successor to the highly successful PlayStation, the PlayStation 2, was released. In 2001, the U.S. passed the controversial U.S. Patriot Act into law, and that still is a subject of debate today. In 2002, approximately 50 Chechen rebels and 150 hostages died when Russian Spetsnaz stormed the House of Culture Theater in Moscow, which had been occupied by the rebels 3 days earlier. AT&T Wireless officially acquired by Singular Wireless on this date in 2004. Chicago White Sox defeated the Houston Astros on this date in 2005 in the World Series to win their first championship since 1917. Passing away on this date in history, Gone with the Wind's Hattie McDaniel, actor Vincent Coleman, Wilbur Harrison, who sang about going to Kansas City, and the man who also sang about Della and the Dealer and a dog named Jake, Hoyt Axton, passing away on this date. Birthdays today include singer Mahalia Jackson, bandleader Charlie Barnett, actor Jackie Coogan, the Jordanaires Neil Matthews Jr., and British actor Bob Hoskins. Charlie's Angels' Jacqueline Smith is 78. Wheel of Fortune host for the last season, Pat Sajak, is 77. Hillary Rodham Clinton, 76. From Grey's Anatomy, James Pickens Jr., 69. From The Practice, Dylan McDermott is 62. From 10,000 Maniacs, Natalie Merchant is 60. Country singer Keith Urban is 56. From Family Guy and Ted, a voice actor, and also from The Orville, Sean McFarland is 50. From Napoleon Dynamite, John Hader is 46. And pro wrestler CM Punk is 45. Those are just a few of the people celebrating the 26th day of October as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you.
I think we'll hear about the third man first around this hour of classic radio theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll go back 72 years to October 26, 1951. Orson Welles in The Lives of Harry Lime. That's up next on this Thursday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
There are people in most countries who would like to live in the Republic of the United States or the Dominion of Canada where that good Olga coal is sold. The citizens of our free countries are the envy of many people elsewhere because of the personal freedom which we have enjoyed. Why then doesn't every country adopt a form of free government? One answer is that unfortunately there are people and parties in many nations who are so greedy for power that they will sacrifice the freedom of their fellow countrymen to obtain power for themselves. History, even recent history, is replete with such instances. That is why the citizens of the Republic of the United States and the Dominion of Canada must be careful to recognize at its very beginning any movement to steal or limit their freedom. That is not always easy. The man who would enslave a free people doesn't begin by saying, "Now I'm going to be your dictator." Instead, he probably will claim that he is a devoted supporter of personal freedom. But all the while he will support policies that weaken and undermine personal freedom. Such a man will deny any totalitarian aims. But free citizens must not be deceived by such denials. Apparently, it is a cardinal principle of every sincere totalitarian that he is justified in lying, if such lies will advance his plans. In these times, no public figure and no party or organization supporting such a person can be accepted without careful consideration. Every public figure and organization must be carefully scrutinized. And if their real aims are to limit or to destroy our freedom as individuals, they must be opposed and defeated.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, a prequel. The motion picture The Third Man, Orson Welles was in that, and he starred as Harry Lime. However, Harry Lime was killed in the motion picture. Following the motion picture, Orson Welles worked with Harry Alan Towers to produce The Lives of Harry Lime and The Third Man, the events before Harry Lime was killed in The Third Man. This episode goes back 72 years to October 26, 1951. It's entitled Every Frame Has a Silver Lining.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna, as those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. No. He had many lives, and I can tell you about all of them. How do I know? Because my name is Harry Lime. A fellow I knew once told me I was a poet, but he was so wrong. Poets are always singing about daffodils and brooks and skylarks and the women they're faithful to in their fashion, a sort of Merry Widow waltz. I, if I sang at all, would sing about money and the women I've known, but in an offbeat rhythm. Money and women. Somehow they go together. Neither's much use without the other, is it? At least that's the stuff that Harry Lime sings about. Those are the themes to which he dances in life's ballet. Sometimes pleasant, occasionally a little painful. Like that time in Teheran.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man. In every frame has a silver lining.
It was in Teheran. That was some years ago. I'd just come there, and I was pretty sure that in a country with all that oil and all that intrigue, with so many people playing the game of empire building and empire busting, I could promote something that suited my special talents. I was walking along a street when I heard some shouting. A small, frightened man, out of breath and frantic, came wheeling around the corner and piled into me head on. Hey there! Where's the fire?
Out of my way.
Hey, not so fast. Papas, don't you recognize me?
Harry Lime.
Right. Who's after you, the devil?
The police are chasing me. Here, take this.
Okay, what is it?
$50,000 worth of opium.
What's that?
Opium. $50,000 worth. Take it.
What am I going to do with it?
Then if they catch me, they'll have to let me go. Tonight at 7:30, bring it to the Grand Hotel. My principals will be there, and we'll cut you in.
Okay, I'm with you. Beat it now. Duck down this alley.
Thank you, Harry. Tonight at 7:30.
Tonight at 7:30. You, just a minute. You're the police, aren't you?
Yes.
Are you chasing the little man who ran around the corner here, the one in the dirty white suit?
Yes. You saw him?
He went down that alley.
Come, down the alley.
I waited until the police disappeared, and then I did some running on my own account to my hotel. I repacked my bag, making certain to conceal among my handkerchiefs and shirts the package my friend Pappas had been so kind as to give me. Then... Hello, desk. Mr. Lime in room 1123. I want a reservation on the 2 o'clock plane for Paris. Yes, I know I've just arrived, but I'm leaving now. I was now the sole owner of $50,000 worth of opium. In Paris, I could protect myself to some extent because of connections. And the other problem I had was how to smuggle it into America, where I knew I'd be able to get the best price for it. In Paris, I set about to find some likely tourist into whose luggage I'd be able to put my package. It took me 3 days to find my American. Very lovely-looking American, outside a cafe. A lovely, fresh, unspoiled girl sat watching the Parisian scene. Some men would merely have looked at her hungrily until the cafe closed. Not Harry Lime. Hello?
Do I know you?
My name is Harry Lime.
I don't know you.
Why? I just introduced myself.
Perhaps I should warn you that I'm waiting for my parents.
Oh, good. Fine. I'd very much like to meet your parents.
You are rude, aren't you?
You don't really believe that. You know, a man can see a girl and know that this is the girl. One they've always felt must be somewhere on earth, the one they've never met and always wanted to meet. But he doesn't speak, and she goes away, and he never sees her again. So is it rudeness if he speaks to her? Or is it wisdom?
You're very bold.
Well, I hope I'm also convincing. I very much want to be. Can I sit down?
Well, since my parents are coming.
Thank you. It's better. Now, maybe I ought to know your name.
Helen Bow.
How do you do? American?
Of course.
I'm from New York, but you're not.
How can you tell?
Because you're unself-conscious, because you're direct and simple, in the best sense of that word. You're not from a large city, but you're not a farm girl either. You're from a small city. Probably the Midwest, right?
I'm from Youngstown.
See?
You're very clever.
No. I'm interested, that's all. So interested that I can't be satisfied with anything less than a close and complete study of you.
Oh, you make me sound like a picture in the Louvre.
You're much too natural for that. I hope you're going to be in Paris for a while.
No, we're leaving in about a week, I think.
Doesn't give me much time. Tell me, are your parents due here any minute?
No, I'm supposed to meet them here in an hour, but I didn't know where else to go.
Good. We have an hour then. At least an hour.
For what?
For me to show you Paris. Come on.
Oh, well, really?
Let's make it more than an hour. Let's leave a note for them. We can meet them later at your hotel, and I'll take you all to dinner.
Goodness, you're so sudden, so abrupt.
I haven't much time with you, you know. Only a week. Garçon? We went to the garden of the Tuileries, though I was tempted to see whether I could wean this girl away from her parents for the whole evening. I for once acted the perfect gentleman. Refinement is one of my many skills. Boring but useful in my trade. This girl and her Midwestern parents were perfect to smuggle the opium into the U.S. for me, so I questioned her with real interest about herself and her family.
My brother Jack was killed in the war. We came over here to see his grave.
I was very solicitous. I knew that Americans are always happy to meet compatriots abroad. All Americans but I, that is, and this time even I was delighted. I took her back to her hotel, met her parents, took them all to dinner.
Yes, sir, Mr. Lime. I tell you, there's no place like Youngstown. Isn't that right, Mother?
It's a nice town. I mean, it's nice.
And you, Helen? Do you like your hometown, too?
Why,
Of course she does. Why shouldn't she? She was born there.
Oh, Daddy, that's no reason for liking a place. I do like it, though.
Helen's had some of the nicest times back home, Mr. Lime. I mean, she's really enjoyed herself with the young folks and all, I mean.
Hey, I'm getting jealous.
You come to Youngstown, Mr. Lime. We'll show you what living can be.
I mean, among real folks, Mr. Lime.
They were perfect for my gag. Real homespun boobs who wouldn't suspect I'd planned anything in their luggage and would not be suspected by customs officials. I knew after 5 minutes that I had the answer to my problem. After dinner, they took me back to the hotel suite, and here in a city full of the greatest art treasures in the world, I was made to exclaim over the family photograph albums that they'd brought from Youngstown.
This picture was taken at the picnic grove, Mr. Lime. See Dad in his white flannel, see?
Yep. Wore my ice cream pants that day.
Oh, well, this picture doesn't do justice to Helen.
Oh, you're making fun of us.
No, I'm not making fun at all.
Easy to see which member of the family this young feller's interested in. Eh, Mother?
Now you're embarrassing me.
Oh, personally, I think it would be impossible to embarrass you, Mr. Lime.
Call me Harry, won't you, Helen?
That's an example of what I mean.
Oh, Mr. Lime, here's a picture of our poor dead boy.
Jack.
Oh, he was a fine-looking boy. But it's a wonderful picture. Why haven't you had it framed?
It would look nice in a frame, wouldn't it?
I sure would. Say, maybe I could get one for you.
Oh, no.
Why not? I know where I can get a beauty, and over here things don't cost like they do in the States. So we don't have to settle that now, do we? Right now, all I'd like to do is to have you all agree to be my guests on a tour of the city tomorrow.
I'd like that first rate.
And one other thing, with your permission and with Helen's consent, of course, I'd like to take Helen to the Folie Bergère right now.
Well, that's up to Helen.
Oh, I'd like it very much.
Oh, that's great. Let's go. In 2 or 3 days, I was in solid with the family, and so the day before they were to leave for Cherbourg, take the boat for New York, I felt I could move in with my presents. It was a silver frame, good-sized one, a thick one, a hollow one for the boy's picture. In my room, I opened the little package I'd received from Pappas and concealed its contents in the hollow of the frame. Then I visited the Bolt family in their suite.
Well, this is a wonderful present, Lime.
I'm glad you like it.
Oh, thank you, Harry. It's such a beautiful frame.
You've done this so we can have Jack's picture on the piano back home. I mean, it's the nicest thing that's happened on the whole trip.
Oh, believe me, it's my pleasure.
Oh, see how the picture fits. Isn't it nice?
Wonderful. Jim Dandy.
Oh.
Now, what time do you leave for Cherbourg?
Bright and early tomorrow morning.
I've been thinking I'd like to go with you, if I may.
Oh, no.
See you all.
No, there's no need.
Oh, you'll be seeing us in Youngstown when you come back to America, Harry.
Of course. We don't want to put you out. You'd rather stay in Paris.
Oh, but my dear people, I'd rather not stay in Paris. I'd rather be with you. I want to wave goodbye to you as you sail.
Well, it's very nice of you, Harry, but I...
Oh, no, I insist.
Well...
Oh, Mother, I think if he insists, well, that is a compliment to us. If Harry insists...
And I do.
Then we've got to let him come. Don't you see that? Don't you agree, Father?
Well, I guess I do. Okay, young feller.
Gee, thanks.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man.
The word research has become pretty familiar to all of us in the last 10 years or so, but have you ever stopped to think what research, especially medical research, means to you personally? Without research, we would have no penicillin or any of the other wonder drugs. Research is also the most important weapon in the fight against mental illness. And mental illness today afflicts more than 9 million people. Already, research has opened up leads for preventing many mental illnesses, and research has shown us speedier and more effective ways of helping mentally sick people to get well. Research scientists say we can be hopeful, but they need help from us. They need money to carry on research. If we help science, science can give us a much better chance to escape mental illness and to cure mental illness if it should strike. If you'd like to help, give to the Mental Health Fund in care of your local postmaster. Just address Mental Health Fund in care of your local postmaster. Don't wait. This worthwhile cause needs your support now.
And now, Orson Welles, as the third man, continues with Every Frame Has a Silver Lining.
I wanted to go to Cherbourg. Do I have to tell you? Because I never believed in leaving anything to chance. I had to know which suitcase the picture with the silver frame got packed in. I was determined to put them on the boat. So I went to Cherbourg the night before they were to sail. I walked with Helen down by the wharves.
It's so still tonight.
The night is holding its breath for us, Helen.
Our last night.
Yes. Our last night is sad, of course, but there is something beautiful about it, too, isn't it?
There's always something beautiful about sadness.
Yes, I know. And Helen, I'd like to make believe tonight. I'd like to pretend that this is the end.
Well, that we're never going to see each other again? Could be.
Oh, I don't mean it, but even though I'd soon come to you in Youngstown, even though we might soon be married, I want to say goodbye to you tonight, the way a man says goodbye to a girl he loves and will never see again.
Oh, I know how you feel. I feel that way, too. Harry, darling.
Helen. Look at me, Helen.
Yes. Oh, kiss me, Harry. Kiss me.
I delivered her fine into the hands of her parents, and before we had a nightcap together, I helped them pack, helped them put the frame I'd bought them and the opium they didn't know about to a certain suitcase. Tomorrow I'd put them on the boat. Then I'd take the plane to America, and before they arrived, I'd have certain friends of mine ready to hijack that suitcase as soon as they got it through the customs. Everything was working for the best, and the best of all possible worlds. I slept well. The next morning, quite early, I went to their room in the hotel.
Monsieur, you must not make so much noise.
Well, I'm trying to rouse my friends.
But, monsieur, that room is vacant.
Nonsense. The Bolts are staying here.
No, monsieur. They have left at 2 o'clock this morning. See? I show you.
Vacant.
Oui, they have gone.
I stood there in the doorway looking into the room vacated by my erstwhile friends. And in my mind's ear, I heard the voice of Pappas.
My principals will meet you tonight in the Grand Hotel.
They met me, all right. They met me, Pappas's principals, and took me. Perhaps Pappas, who knew me well, had told them that I liked a pretty face. Now they were gone, and so was my opium. And so was my $50,000. I advanced into that room.
But, monsieur, you have no right in here.
Yeah, does this give me the right?
Oh, thank you, monsieur, thank you. Can I help you in any way, monsieur?
Yeah, I'm looking for something.
Oui, and for what?
I don't know. Clues.
Here is this picture on the floor, monsieur.
Ah, Brother Jack. Now, if they'd only left the frame around that picture.
Ah, monsieur?
Never mind. Hey, what's this?
What?
On the desk blotter there. Someone was writing on a paper over this blotter, and he bore down hard. Let's see. See if we can make it out. 23
Rue de...
Pêcheur. 23 Rue de Pêcheur. Oh, say, I'm off.
Mais, monsieur! Ah, ces Américains!
The Rue de Pêcheur in Marseille is a short and quiet street, quiet to the point of being suspicious. The street with more vacant lots than dilapidated frame houses in need of paint. Number 23 was there. A house with streaked windows, a house seemingly deserted. No one was watching, so I mounted the steps of the porch with my automatic in my hand.
Harry Lime.
Hello, Pappas. This gun has real bullets in it. I'm coming in.
Come in, yes, but come in.
Okay. Where are they?
Who?
People you're holding prisoner. Pappas, I've come to take them out. Where's that girl?
But...
Where are they?
In that room.
Okay, lead on, McPappas. Open the door.
Harry!
Hello, darling. Hello, Mother and Father.
Lime, now, wait a minute. We'll make a deal with you.
Over to the corner, Pappas.
We always intended to cut you in.
Oh, that's a silly thing to say, Grace. He knows better.
Grace, huh? Not Mother. I'm relieved.
Lime, listen to me.
And there's the opium right on the table, still in the frame. Well, thank you, one and all.
Oh, now, wait a minute. There's a man coming to pick up that opium and give us the money for it. He's due here any minute. When you knocked, we thought he'd come.
He's paying American prices, Lime.
Yes, and we'll cut you in. We always intended to.
What do you say, Lime?
It's a good deal for you, Harry.
Yeah, sounds like a good deal.
Ah.
For me.
What do you mean?
Open the door of that next room, Helen. That's fine. I think it'd be nice to tie you people up in here.
Oh, no, you don't realize.
Lime, you're not serious.
Oh, Harry, please.
It's no use to argue with Harry. I know him. He's not an honest man.
Come on, all of you, in here.
I knew we should have taken that plane.
All right, now all of you set to work tearing down these drapes. Come on, hop to it. Helen,
Well,
you're going to tie them up.
and then you'll tie me up?
How'd you like to come with me?
Do you mean it?
I mean it. We could be an excellent team. Nobody more innocent looking than you, and nobody more full of excellent ideas for making use of your innocent appearance than I. What do you say?
All right, Harry, it's a deal.
Oh, it's a dirty double cross.
Picked you up off of the street of Philly.
Shut up! Shut up! All right, Helen, tie him up. Gag him.
All right, darling. Glad to.
She tied them well, and afterwards she and I went into the other room and waited for the messenger with the money.
Oh, it's going to be a merry life.
Oh, it is that. You know, it's a relief, Helen.
What is?
Discovering that you're not a little maiden from Youngstown. I can like you just as much this way, more, but it's fine not pretending.
Oh, you pretended well.
Not half so well as you.
Do you love me, Harry?
Now, there you are. A woman can have all the wickedness and all the terrible, precocious knowledge of a street urchin, and still she remains a woman. Do I love you? Yes, Helen, I love you.
I'm glad.
I have a soft spot, you see. I could have left you in that room with the others. I could have taken all the money for myself, but I love you.
Oh, I'm glad you have that soft spot. And I am a woman, really. Well, there's the messenger.
Come on. Oh, no, wait a minute. My automatic. Never can tell when you're dealing with crooks. All right, let's go. I'll cover the door with a gun. You open it.
Nous sommes gendarmes.
Oh, police.
Put down that gun, monsieur. Take it from him, Jacques. Eh bien.
Now, gentlemen, wait now.
There will be no waiting, monsieur. We know you have opium here. We've been watching the house. We have also got the man who was here with the money.
Oh, Harry, what can we do?
Now, there, gentlemen, there is a clever girl.
What do you mean, Harry?
Do you hear her? She's making it sound as though I was one of them.
Harry!
What are you saying, monsieur?
Well, you saw me with the gun trained on her. I made her open the door, and I was going to take the messenger. Did not realize, of course, that you, the so efficient policeman, had already taken him. I made this girl confess to me where the opium was hidden.
He's lying. He lured me here. He's been making love to me.
I want the truth, mademoiselle.
You won't get it from her, gentlemen.
You said you loved me. You said we were to be married.
Gentlemen, this is a most wicked liar. In the back room, you will find the rest of her gang, tied up as I tied them myself. You can easily trace this girl to these people. She's gone everywhere on the continent with them, pretending to be the daughter of the two of them. Is that a lie, young lady?
You...
Monsieur, if your story is true, France will be most great.
No, it's quite all right. It's quite all right. You'll find the gang back there.
Jacques, you stay here with these people. I myself will go and see.
Oh, by the way, Captain.
Yes?
Just in case you're wondering about my angle in this, I believe your so gracious country offers a reward in cases like this.
That is true.
I do hope you'll be able to put it through for me quite speedily, Captain. I really shouldn't stay in Marseille much longer.
I will do my best, monsieur.
Thank you very much.
Dirty, dirty swine, Harry.
Oh, now, easy does it, darling. I'm a realist. You know, my sweet, though you are so beautiful, I'm afraid I cannot undertake to wait for you to get out of whatever Bastille is about to embrace you. After all, there's a time for everything. There's a time for seeing Paris. There's a time for making love, a time for sentiment. There's time for you. In about 10 years, I should think. So long, dear.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, a long time ago it was written that man shall not live by bread alone. In this often quoted line from the Bible, bread is merely a symbol of all material values. And although we in America have the greatest material advantages in the world, they are not enough to bring us complete happiness. We must find that happiness in our spiritual as well as our material lives, in faith as well as bread. In America, one of our most precious heritages is the right to worship as we please, to know the spiritual pleasures of our churches and synagogues. The doors of your places of worship stand open to you, and your religious leaders will welcome you to their services. They also offer you personal and family guidance and the opportunity to become a firm part of your community. Through our churches and synagogues, that community and the families within it can find stability. And as an individual, you can find the peace that only religion can bring. Thus, the religious organizations of America invite you to find yourself through faith and come to church this week. Good night.
And now, Harry Lime.
By the way, there's a postscript to that story. I told you once before I don't approve of dope, and you may have thought from this little adventure that I'd gone against my principles. Really, you should know me better by now. Harry Lime may be a trifle underweight on some of the virtues, but touch upon his principles, and I warn you, watch out. The police, of course, got the dope. But even if they hadn't arrived at that rather dramatic moment, I'll let you in on a secret. I'd already come to a decision. I was going to claim that police reward anyway. Of course, I may have been influenced by reading about the size of the reward and also by the size of the risk. You know, the way things are going, it may pay to be honest, which all goes to prove that even Harry Lime may not be incorruptible, if you see what I mean.
72 years ago, October 26, 1951, Orson Welles, The Lives of Harry Lime, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next,
The Shadow.
You know, a fire that is raging out of control, a fire that isn't burning in an open fireplace or a closed furnace, but a fire that is burning all over the house, destroying everything it touches. That's the fire we all live in fear of. The sound of fire engines racing by in the dead of night isn't an exciting sound. It's a frightening sound. And the only kind of comfort we derive from hearing it is a kind of a small, uneasy relief that it isn't happening to us. Small and uneasy because we know that it could be happening to us. We all hope that it never will. But that's a futile kind of hope, unless we take active steps to see that it doesn't. And the steps to prevent such a fire happening to us are really simple. Here they are. Don't smoke in bed, and don't lose track of that cigarette you're smoking somewhere around the house. Don't store up old rags and papers. Clean them out. Don't put up with defective wiring and old frayed cords. Don't use cleaning fluids that will catch fire. Don't leave matches in reach of small children. Just 5 steps. Follow them. If you don't, you're gambling with fire, and the odds are overwhelmingly against you.
After Orson Welles left The Shadow, Bill Johnstone took over as the lead character, Lamont Cranston, on The Shadow from 1938 until 1943. He was one of, 5 people who played The Shadow. You had Welles, you had Bill Johnstone, Brett Morrison, John Archer, and Stephen Courtley. Those were the 5 who played The Shadow. And in this episode, you will hear Bill Johnstone or William Johnstone, depending upon who's doing the crediting, as The Shadow. This episode goes back 82 years ago, October 24th, 1941.
Shadow knows.
The thrilling adventures of the Shadow are on the air. Brought to you each week at this time by your neighborhood blue coal dealer. These dramatizations are designed to demonstrate forcibly to old and young alike that crime does not pay. The way to get in step with the times on home heating is to fill your bin with blue coal, that exceptionally fine home fuel. Yes, blue coal gives you comfortable, economical heat, and it's effort-saving on your part, too. Yes, it's easy as well as clean and healthy to heat your home the blue coal way. Order a supply of blue coal right now. The producers of blue coal foresee no shortage of this high-quality home fuel, but present unsettled conditions make it wise to be prepared. Don't put off ordering. Call your friendly neighborhood blue coal dealer tomorrow and get your winter's supply. The Shadow mysterious character who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. Several years ago in the Orient, Cranston learned a strange and powerful secret. The secret of hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so that they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the invisible shadow belongs. Today's drama, The Devil's Hour.
The ram's horn will summon Satan. Help me, Satan. Alone in the forest here, I have sounded the devil's horn. I call on you to blot out the life of my enemy, Edward Heller, before the hour of this midnight has struck, and to blot out the life of his sister Deborah, before the hour of this midnight has passed.
Is that you, Bediah?
Yes, Miss Deborah. It's Bediah. Them farm people are having a fine time for their Halloween husking party.
Oh, we shouldn't have done it, Bediah. Mr. Edvard is in no condition to be lying in his bed upstairs, tossing and turning, while that infernal laughing and stomping goes on.
Yes'm. But they'll be leaving soon, ma'am. Now, Miss Deborah, I'm going down to the servants' quarter.
Well, there's nothing else for you to do. Bediah.
Miss Deborah.
It sounded like...
The devil's horn, Miss Deborah.
Where's it coming from?
Mr. Edvard's room.
Edvard! Oh, get up there quick, Bediah.
Yes'm, Miss Deborah. But there ain't much I can do. You heard that horn.
Yes, Bediah. I heard the devil's horn. Means Edvard is to die. But it isn't time yet. Midnight was the hour he always feared. Midnight. Edvard!
Miss Deborah! Miss Deborah!
Yes, Bediah?
Mr. Edvard!
Yes, Bediah?
Mr. Edvard is dead.
Of course he is.
What were them shots, Miss Deborah?
Who are you to ask?
My name is Jarkins, one of the farm folks, ma'am.
What is...
Mr. Jarkins. My brother Edvard is dead.
Edward dead?
Dead?
Who, Edward Heller? Dead?
How did you mean?
Quiet, friends. Miss Deborah, who would kill such a man as your brother?
I don't know that, Mr. Jarkins. But this I do know. Just before my brother was killed, we heard the devil's horn from up there in his room.
So, the devil's horn.
Yeah, the devil's been here.
Old Pratsman done it.
Old Pratsmandovich. He talks to the devil.
Quiet, friends. Miss Deborah, did old Pratsman maybe have a grudge against your brother? Did he, ma'am?
My brother knew Mr. Pratsman. Only yesterday it was I heard them quarreling.
Go on.
And I heard Pratsman saying as clear as though he were in this room right now. He said,
I may be helpless, Edward Heller, but I can call on Satan to bring death and destruction on the house of my enemies.
That's just what he said, Mr. Jarkins. Now, what are you going to do?
Bury the witch with his victim, Miss Deborah. We're going to dig a nice, deep grave for old Pratsman. There'll be 2 bodies together in that grave tonight.
Margot, we haven't yet passed a witch on a broom. Strange, isn't it?
Unheard of, Lamont, considering it's soon to be Halloween. Can you remember what an exciting thing Halloween was when you were a kid?
Oh, that doesn't require too good a memory, Margot. Incidentally, I didn't want to frighten you, but I'm afraid we've lost our road.
Well, I'm really too sleepy to care, partner in crime.
Well, then, why don't we just pick out a little inn along the road and stay there until morning?
This countryside is perfect for Halloween. So why don't you just wave your wand, stop your car, and there you are. Well, you stopped your car, but where are you?
You're in.
I am. Oh, where?
Well, doesn't that sign say inn?
Oh, yes, I see. Nailed up on the tree there. P-R-O...
I think the name is Protzman.
Yes, Protzman. Well, Mr. Protzman's inn's a little dilapidated. But then so am I.
Hurry then, my lady, before you both fall apart.
And I'm just in the mood to do that.
Well, doesn't seem to be a creature stirring, but we'll take a chance.
Serve us right if an old witch took us in and baked us both into gingerbread boys.
A boy for me and girl for you, darling. You see, Oh, good evening.
You've come to tell me he's dead, haven't you?
What? What did you say?
You've come to tell me. Oh, I thought you were someone else.
Someone else?
My name is Protzman. This is my house. What can I do for you?
We'd like 2 rooms for the night, if you have them.
Step inside. I'll try to. What was that?
What?
Did you hear?
Oh, some people on the road. After all, it's Halloween.
Look, Lamont, coming over the hill. It's a mob.
It's me they want. They're after me.
Protzman, where are you?
What will I do? What will I do?
Well, as a first precaution, I suggest you're ducking inside and locking the door, Mr. Protzman.
That wouldn't stop them. They'd burn the house down.
Well, then I'm afraid we're in for a first class.
This time they're going to kill me.
Quiet.
They'll kill me.
Listen to me, you men.
I'd keep out of this if I was you, stranger. Protzman, you're the one we want to talk to.
What do you want with me, Mr. Jarkin?
Funny you're asking that, you with your dirty witchcraft and spellcasting.
Where are you taking me? We're taking you back to the Heller Mansion, Protzman.
And we are going to bury you with Heller in a nice deep grave.
Oh, no.
Grab him, men. No, you don't. Let me go. Protzman, you ain't leaving us alive.
Don't hurt me. I can
Hold it fast, John. That grave is just going to fit you.
Did you hear what I heard, Margot?
I'm afraid I did, Lamont.
A witch, a murder, and a grave already dug? What were you saying about Halloween being exciting when we were kids, Margot?
It's up to us to quiet.
Do what we want to do.
Let Protzman talk.
Please. Please let me go. You're wrong about me, I tell you.
Are we? Here's your witch, Miss Deborah. Got anything to say to him?
I have. That's my brother's body on the bed there, Mr. Protzman. Not a pretty sight, is he? With those 3 bullets in his heart.
Don't make me look at the dead one.
You'll look at it all right. It was the last night.
Please.
Listen. Hear that? Someone coming up the stairs. Expect anybody, Miss Deborah?
No one.
Well, here we are, Margot. No trouble at all. Oh, quite a turnout we have here.
Good evening, everyone.
Well, I don't want to play, Margot. Now, my dear, we are at what is usually referred to as the scene of the crime. We must observe everything very carefully. For instance, the broken vase we see lying on this hearthstone may be connected with this fresh bullet hole in the mantelpiece here.
Amazing, my dear Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Margot. Now, I wonder if these good people here have noticed that the dead man didn't so much as stir in his sleep while being killed.
Listen here, stranger. I don't know who you are.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm Lamont Cranston, and this is Miss Lane. We thought we'd help track down the criminal who killed Edward Heller.
The devil himself killed Edward Heller.
Really? The devil must be having a rather tough season of it.
What do you mean, miss?
That empty watch case on the mantelpiece. Did the devil by any chance steal the contents of that, Mr. Jorkins?
Edward's watch case.
She's right. It's empty. His watch is gone.
Ah, nice work, Margot. Was it a very valuable watch, madam?
It was an heirloom. One of those old-fashioned watches that chimed a little tune on the hour.
Oh, yes, I know the kind. Very popular in my grandfather's day. Still rather popular with His Satanic Majesty by the looks of things.
What kind of nonsense is this? The devil has no need for the things of men.
No? Well then, Mr. Jarkins, why did your devil use the revolver by this bed to murder Mr. Heller?
It's Edward's own gun. He always kept it in his room.
May I see it, please?
Why, yes.
Miss Deborah, don't give it to him.
Thank you, Miss Deborah.
Back,
Mr. Jarkins, you and your mob. Now then.
All right, it's all right, men. He won't get away with this.
And you better get old Protzman out of here, Lamont.
Right, Margot. You.
Me, sir? Bediah, sir? I'm only a servant in the house, sir.
Get Mr. Protzman out of this room quickly. Hold him downstairs until the police come.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, young man. We'll get you for this, Protzman, and you too, Cranston.
Get him out, Bediah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm sorry to interfere with your fun this evening, gentlemen. But no one is to touch that old man until the police arrive. Is that clear?
Who says so?
I do, Mr. Jarkins. Not to mention the revolver. And now we're going to proceed with a sensible investigation of this.
What was that?
He's gone. Protzman's got away.
Bediah!
He's a witch for sure he is.
How did he get away?
I turned my back for 1 second, and he vanished.
Oh, I can't stand this. I'm going falling.
Lamont, help him.
Here, Miss Deborah. Take my arm. Hold the gun, Margot, while I...
I'll take that gun, Mr. Cranston.
Here, Vice.
There. Now, sir, you listen to me. You let Protzman escape.
Miss Deborah,
I want no explanations. He killed my brother. He threatened my own life, and now... Mr. Jarkins.
Yes, Miss Deborah.
You and the rest will take Miss Lane below and hold her until Mr. Cranston brings the murderer to me. If you fail to do that by 1 o'clock, Mr. Cranston, I will take the law into my own hands. You and Miss Lane have 30 minutes to live.
In a moment, we'll bring you the second act of The Devil's Hour. Recent weather predictions describe an especially severe winter in store for us. Be prepared to meet it with a plentiful supply of blue coal. This exceptionally fine home fuel will give you comfortable, even warmth, no matter how cold the winds outside the house may blow. And remember this, that it's especially easy to heat your home with blue coal. Blue coal is delivered to your home in exactly the proper size for your heating plant. It's carefully prepared to give you safe, efficient, and economical heat. And you'll enjoy added ease when your furnace is equipped with our new automatic blue coal heat regulator. What a truly wonderful improvement this is. It's as easy to operate as your electric toaster. It automatically opens and closes the dampers on your furnace and keeps every room at an even temperature at all times. Call your reliable neighborhood Blue Coal dealer right away and ask for a free demonstration of the Blue Coal Deluxe Heat Regulator in your own home with no obligation whatever. Your neighborhood dealer is listed under the words Blue Coal in the yellow section of your classified phone directory. Blue Coal, you know, is color marked for your protection with a harmless blue tint. Get in touch with your Blue Coal dealer tomorrow. And now, back to the shadow.
Jarkins and his men are holding Miss Lane outside. And your time is passing, Mr. Cranston.
I hope to give you a definite clue soon, Miss Deborah. Now, let's see. This was Edward's library. An art collection. Egyptology, metaphysics. Look at this.
Who's that?
Witchcraft. A volume on witchcraft. And what's this in the pages?
It's a letter, Mr. Cranston.
So I see.
It seems to begin in the middle. There must be another page somewhere about.
What does it say?
You were taken away, my own. I will leave no stone unturned to bring misery and death on him who stole you from me. Signed, Edward.
Strange. I don't look, here it is. The first page.
To whom is it addressed, Mr. Cranston?
To beloved Elsa, dated the 25th. Why, that's yesterday.
Elsa! Oh, no.
Miss Deborah,
Oh.
are you ill?
Don't worry about me. There's no time to waste. You must go to Badiah at once, Mr. Cranston.
Badiah?
He will know the truth. Ask him why my brother went to see Dr. Fennings last night.
Dr. Fennings?
If only you can make him talk.
There are ways to do that, Miss Deborah.
Miss Deborah.
Oh, I'll have to go out this window. You can tell Mr. Jarkins I'll be back soon.
Miss Deborah, you hear me in there? Where is he? First Protzman disappears, and now...
Mr. Jarkins, there's been a mistake.
You'll find out what a mistake there's been if you're Protzman's next victim. Where's Cranston? Why did you let him go?
I had to, Mr. Jarkins. There was a
Miss
mistake.
Deborah, I believe you're in league with your brother's murderers, with Cranston and Protzman.
No, Mr. Jarkins.
You are. And now, if it's the last thing on earth I do, I'm going
No!
to...
No, Mr. Jarkins! Mr... Oh!
She's dead. Badiah, Cranston has escaped, but my men are still holding Miss Lane. She has only a short while to live. Meanwhile, I don't want you to tell anybody I talked to you.
I won't tell, Mr. Jarkins.
Good. From here on, I'm going to shoot on sight.
Make sure your aim is good, Jarkins. Very good. Who was that?
I am the Shadow.
But I can't see you.
No. I've cast a hypnotic spell over your mind, Badiah.
What do you want with me?
Why did Edward Heller visit Dr. Fennings last night?
You know that?
The Shadow knows. Why, Badiah?
Because Mr. Edvard's heart was bad. Dr. Fennings said he couldn't live out the month.
I see. Why did you keep that visit a secret?
Because I was scared of Mr. Edvard. Death always seemed to be close to him. And that horn we heard...
Very interesting. One thing more. Your master, Edward Heller, wrote a letter to Elsa. Who is Elsa?
Elsa? Why, that was Mr. Protzman's wife.
Mr. Protzman's wife?
She's been dead these 10 long years, she has.
I see. I'm leaving you now, Badiah. But remember, I'm always near. The Shadow will be watching you.
What are we waiting for, Jarkins?
It's almost one. Why don't we kill Cranston's friend, Miss Lane, here?
We've still got 5 minutes left. Miss Deborah
Miss
promised...
Deborah's dead. I'm in charge now. Men?
Yeah, what is it?
That grave Edvard Heller's lying in is waiting for a companion. If we can't get Cranston, we've got Miss Lane.
But Lamont won't go back on his word. He'll be here any minute.
Any minute won't do, Miss Lane. He should be here now.
But I am here, gentlemen.
Oh, Lamont.
Put down that gun, Jarkins. My time's not up yet. I promised to deliver the murderer before 1 o'clock, and I will.
All right, but you'd better do some fast talking, Cranston.
Gladly. Now listen to me. First, that broken vase was shattered by the bullet that made this small hole here in this mantelpiece.
What's your point, Cranston?
Just this. We know there were 3 shots heard when Edward Heller was killed. It's unlikely that the murderer would have missed after getting his range. Therefore, the shot that missed and broke this vase must have been the first shot fired. Right, Mr. Jarkins?
Well, yes. Yes, I guess so. Oh, what's that got to do with it?
Just this. If you'd been in bed asleep and someone had fired a gun in your ear and knocked a vase to the floor, what would you have done?
Frankly, I would have jumped up and tried
Of course you would have, Margot. But Edward Heller didn't. See how smooth his bedclothes are? Heller didn't move because he knew he was going to be murdered. Murdered as part of his own plan.
Just a minute, Cranston. This bullet hole of yours in the mantelpiece hasn't left a trace of lead.
No? Well, let's see that, Jarkins. Oh. It's just possible that this mantelpiece isn't exactly what it appears to be. I'd say... Aha! Quite an interesting little device, eh, Mr. Jarkins?
That's right. The mantelpiece open.
Yeah, what do you suppose is inside there?
I'm not sure, but I've got a good idea.
I wouldn't go in there, Cranston.
I'll take that chance. Stay here with your men, Jarkins. Come on, Margot.
All right. Careful, Lamont.
I'll be careful. It's only a question...
Lamont, isn't that a figure huddled there in the corner?
It is, Margot. It's Protzman. Protzman. Protzman, are you all right?
Here, let me help.
Please don't hurt.
He's almost delirious.
Leave him alone, Cranston. I'll tend to him. Come along, Cranston.
Oh, no, you don't, Jarkins.
This gun says I do.
Please don't.
Come on.
Please.
Well, Lamont, this is a fine pickle. Haven't you found out who killed Edvard Heller yet?
Almost, Margot. There's only one piece missing from the puzzle, and that's the little stolen watch that plays a tune on the hour.
Do you think you'll find it before they kill Protzman?
Perhaps the shadow can find it, Margot.
Please don't hurt me, Mr. Jarkins. Please let me live.
Shut up, Protzman.
I was...
Who's there?
It's Bediah, Mr. Jarkins.
Well, why don't you come in, Bediah? We're killing a witch in here.
Oh, no. No.
You're killing him, Mr. Jarkins?
We're killing him, Bediah.
Not yet, Jarkins, not yet.
Hey, what's that?
Who was talking?
It was I, Mr. Jarkins. The shadow.
But I can't see you. You're just a voice.
You cannot see me, but I'm here in this room. As is our murderer, Mr. Jarkins.
Who is the murderer?
You have but a moment to wait. The devil's hour is over.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, where is our murderer?
Right there, gentlemen.
It's Edvard Heller's watch.
Mr. Jarkins?
Yes, voice.
Why don't you ask Bediah the time?
Why ask me the time?
Reach in your pocket, Bediah, and take out Edvard Heller's watch.
All right. What if I have Mr. Edvard's watch, Shadow?
Just this. You killed Edvard. Then you kidnapped Protzman to make us believe the devil had a hand in this night's crime.
Yeah, and why did I do that, Shadow?
For a sum of money.
You mean my master paid me to kill him?
That's exactly what I mean. You were the only person who knew Edvard was going to die within the month. And Edvard wanted someone to kill him tonight.
And why would he want that, Shadow?
Revenge. He never forgave Protzman for marrying Elsa, the woman he loved. And because of this, he paid you to kill him, so that he could use his death to frame Protzman.
How do you know all this?
And Edvard almost succeeded. He was only defeated by your stupidity. You couldn't resist stealing your master's watch.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to do plenty.
Look out, Jarkins.
He's got my gun.
Yes, and I'm going to use it.
No, you're not, Bediah. Give me that gun.
No, Shadow. Your job is done. You found your murderer, but I'm robbing you of the privilege of taking him alive. And this time, the first shot won't miss its mark.
Goodbye, Mr. Cranston. Miss Lane, I have to thank you for giving my life back to me.
And I have to thank you for humoring an old fool.
Glad we happened along, Mr. Jarkins. Oh, by the way, Mr. Protzman, I'd give up experimenting with witchcraft if I were you.
Oh, believe me, I will, sir. I will. Believe me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr.
Goodbye,
Protzman.
Mr. Cranston.
All right, Margot?
Yes, I think so. Only, you know, there's one thing I don't understand.
Oh? What's that?
Well, as Mr. Protzman told us, he asked the devil to kill Edvard Heller before midnight, and his sister before 1.
Miss Deborah's death, Margot, was due to apoplexy, brought on by the realization of what Edward had done.
But still, it all turned out exactly the way Protzman asked the devil to arrange it. You see what I mean, Lamont?
Margot, one really mustn't ask too many questions on Halloween's Eve in a strange countryside.
In a moment, we'll bring you an episode from real life proving that crime does not pay. First, however, I know you'll be interested in hearing from Blue Coal's distinguished home heating expert, John Barclay. Mr. Barclay.
Thank you. Many people already have started their furnace fires. In the changeable weather we're having, it's nice to have warmth in the chilly mornings and evenings. But it's certainly no fun to have to get up on a cold morning and go down to rebuild a fire that's gone out during the night. You won't have to do this, you know, if your furnace is equipped with the proper dampers and if you have a modern thermostat. Any Blue Coal dealer will be glad to send an expert John Barclay-trained serviceman to your home to show you how easily you can regulate your furnace to give you heat just when you want it. Heat during the cool mornings and evenings, and fires banked during the day and night. Let this expert serviceman help you at no obligation whatever. Simply call your friendly neighborhood Blue Coal dealer, and you'll soon settle down at ease, free of heating worries. He's listed in the yellow section of your classified telephone directory under the words Blue Coal. See how much easier and more efficient it is to heat your home the Blue Coal way. Thank you.
Today's program is based on a copyrighted story. The characters, names, places, and plot are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Direct from real life, we now bring you conclusive proof that crime does not pay. New York City, New York. Irving Levitt, 38 years old, spots a well-to-do victim for robbery. He quickly approaches.
You got $145 in that handbag.
No.
Give me that.
Run as hard as you can, Irving Levitt. You won't get to spend that money. It profits you nothing. Last week in Kings County Court, Irving Levitt heard the price of his attempted grand larceny. 4 to 5 years in Sing Sing prison. The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
Next week, same time, same station, your friendly Blue Coal dealer brings you another strange and thrilling adventure in the Shadow's daring battle against the forces of evil. Be sure to listen, and be sure to phone your neighborhood Blue Coal dealer for greater heating comfort at less cost. Remember, keep the home fires burning with Blue Coal.
From 82 years ago, mere months before the start of World War II, October 24th, 1941, The Shadow and the Devil's Hour. Coming up next, we'll have an episode of Phyl Coe Mysteries from 86 years ago. But first, I want to remind you to come visit us at classicradio.stream. You can learn about building classic radio collections of your own. You can find our social media links there. You can contact me, and if you're so inclined, like Sean did, you can buy me a coffee. Sean dropped me a note, and I think you'll find this amusing. I can't tell you how happy I am that you're back. What you do is truly invaluable, and I think this podcast-only format is actually an improvement. I love hearing about how healthy cigarettes used to be. Thank you, Sean. You can buy me a coffee, too, or rather a Dr. Pepper, over at classicradio.stream. Coming up in just a moment, Phyl Coe Mysteries.
Folks, this is Riley, alias William Bendix. I'd like to talk to you about something very important to all of us. You know what traffic accidents are. They're something that happened to other people, but not to you. Your life is charmed. When you sit behind the wheel of your car, nothing can harm you. Nothing can touch you. It's impossible that you could be the victim of a traffic smash-up. Doesn't that sound a little ridiculous? Of course it does. But that's the thinking of the majority of America's drivers. And that's the thinking that causes traffic accidents. The truth of the matter is that unless you drive safely and lawfully, an accident can happen to you. Last year it happened to 32,000 persons who died as a result. It happened to more than 1 million others. They were the lucky ones. They were only injured. In every single case, the National Safety Council reports that at least one traffic law was violated. So when you drive your car, remember that your only guarantee of safety is lawful driving. Obey the traffic regulations and drive carefully. The care you take may save a life, and that life may be your own.
or one of our podcast listeners, and we certainly love each and every one of you. We really do. All righty, now let us get to an episode of Phyl Coe Mysteries, and this program stars Peggy Allenby as Phyl Coe, and her boyfriend is portrayed by Bud Collyer. Yes, that Bud Collyer, before he became Superman, and before later on he became the host of the Goodson Todsman game show, To Tell the Truth. Let's hear this episode of Phyl Coe Mysteries from 86 years ago, October 26, 1937.
Case of the Stolen Sables. Here's another transcribed program in the Philco Radio Mystery Contest, brought to you each week at this same time over this station by your Philco radio tube dealer. Here's another opportunity for you to win your share of $50,000 in cash prizes, awarded to the winners in this entirely new kind of radio contest. Big weekly cash prizes, tremendous grand prizes, cash, $50,000. Anybody anywhere can enter this Philco Radio Mystery Contest. Nothing to buy. Just go to your Philco Radio tube dealer and get your absolutely free copy of Philco Mystery Book Number 2. The case which Phyl Coe, the famous girl detective, is going to solve in a moment is the case of the Stolen Sables. Listen to the program with your Philco Mystery Book Number 2 open to pages 10 and 11 if you already have a copy. Listen carefully. Take notes. Don't miss a single thing. You want to win. Let's see how good a detective you are. The scene opens in the living room of Phil's apartment. Tom Taylor has just brought Phil home from the theater, and they are enjoying a late snack before Tom makes his departure.
Hey, Phil, this cheese is super colossal.
I'm glad you like it. I made it myself. Even bored the holes.
Hey, that gives me an idea for my next detective story. Listen to this. We open in the home of an old hermit who ekes out his living collecting the small bits of cheese that fall out when the holes are bored. Now, you see, this hermit has a pet zebra named Elmer.
Who at times... your nonsense. Turn on my new Philco radio over there.
All right.
It's a little after 11. Get Stephen Gilbert's news broadcast.
All right. It's your own fault if you don't want to hear the plot of the great American novel.
Will not defend his title again this year.
Good.
A baffling robbery took place this evening at the Wallace Fur Shop. $50,000 worth of sable coats was said to be missing. The crime was discovered by the owner of the shop, Mr. Theodore Wallace Sr., who returned at 9 o'clock for some letters he had forgotten to mail.
That is, my wife made him go back.
Listen.
As yet, the police have discovered no clues. The shop was protected by a burglar alarm, but no alarm was sounded. Detectives who made a thorough search failed to discover anyone lurking in the building. Are you planning a winter holiday? If so, don't fail to...
That's very curious. I buy from Wallace's every now and then.
All right. You don't have to tell me. I can read your mind. You're going to be at Wallace's Fur Shop in the morning. And you won't have to use force, Sheriff. I'll go along quietly.
It's very kind of you, Miss Coe, to offer your services.
Not at all, Mr. Wallace.
My son, Theodore Jr., will be here in just a few moments. He and I share this second-floor office.
I'll be glad to see him. I read in the morning papers that the fur coats were stolen from a glass showcase here on the second floor.
Yes, that is correct. I kept that case locked at all times, but the thief didn't bother with the lock. He simply smashed the glass.
Good morning, Dad.
Good morning, Theodore. This is my son, my store manager. Theodore, this is Miss Phyllis Coe and Mr. Tom Taylor.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mr. Theodore?
Police find anything new, Dad?
No, son, not a thing. I'm hoping Miss Coe will clear this up for us.
Oh, so you're that Miss Coe, eh? I read in the paper how you found the Faith Diamond over at Raymond's Hospital a couple of weeks ago. That was nice work.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I suppose we're all going to be, what do you call it, grilled?
Mm-hmm. To a crisp.
Yes, Mr. Theodore.
All right. Grill away. What would you like to know, Miss Coe?
Well, I'm convinced this is an inside job. Now, who else besides Mr. Wallace Sr. carries keys to the building?
Well, no one except myself. Ouch. Damaging admission.
Where did you go last night after you left the store?
Out to have a look at my polo ponies. Oh, but gosh, that's no alibi. Horses can't talk.
No, Mr. Theodore, but they can eat. And I'm told that costs a great deal.
Say, wait a minute. You're really getting serious. I suggest you question Paddy, the janitor. He's always the last one to leave.
No, son, take it easy.
Well, I don't know. She's practically accusing me, and I don't like it. If you want me, I'll be downstairs.
No, you must excuse my son. He's always had a grudge against poor old Paddy. When he was a little boy, Paddy once caught him helping himself to a quarter out of the cash register.
Oh, I guess all little boys do things like that.
I didn't. My father never could afford a cash register.
Oh, Tom. Now, Mr. Wallace,
Yes?
just a few questions. You have both floors of this building?
Yes?
What rooms are there downstairs?
Well, behind this salesroom downstairs is the little room used by my two furriers. The back door of the building opens on that room.
And by what door do your employees leave?
The back door, always. You see, I have a time clock back there, and the employees always check in and out. At 5:30, our closing time, Paddy, the janitor, usually sits there by the door to check up on packages taken out. Just a measure of safety.
I see. Will you tell me about your employees? How many are there, and what does each one do?
Well, there's my son Theodore, who is my store manager. I have one saleswoman downstairs, Madame Renee. There are two salespersons here on the second floor, Miss Thompson and Mr. Marshall. Then there are the two furriers whom I mentioned, and Paddy.
Have all these people been associated with you for a long time?
All except Madame Renee. She came to me 2 weeks ago, but with excellent recommendations.
Thank you. And now I'd like to examine the second floor sales room.
Why, certainly, Miss Coe. Come right this way. Now, here is the showcase in which the coats were stolen. This is Paddy just sweeping up the glass. Paddy?
Yes, sir?
Miss Coe and Mr. Taylor are assisting me in tracking down the thief. Now, answer any questions they may ask you.
Yes, sir.
And this lady is Miss Thompson, my saleswoman.
Good morning.
And this is Mr. Marshall, my salesman.
How do you do?
Miss Coe and Mr. Taylor.
How do you do?
And now I'm going downstairs to have a talk with the detective. Now, if you want anything, just call me.
No, thank you, Mr. Wallace.
Oh, this is a nice-looking showroom, Paddy.
It is that, Mr. Taylor?
And such enormous sliding drawers under the showcases. I've never seen drawers quite so large.
And look how easy they work. You can pull them out with one finger. And they go back in just as easy. One little push, and in she goes.
What do you keep in these drawers, Paddy?
Coat linings. This one here, for instance. See, those things in the bottom are coat linings.
Oh, wait a minute before you push that drawer back. What's that down there?
Well, bless my soul. A man's pocket watch.
Whose is it, Paddy?
Well, I'm sure I don't know. Oh, say, Mr. Marshall.
Yes, Paddy?
Oh, look at here. We found a watch in the drawer. Is it yours by any chance?
No, Paddy, that isn't mine. The only watch I own has been at the jeweler's for about 10 days.
Oh, I see. Paddy, will you come into Mr. Marshall's office for a minute?
Oh, with pleasure, Miss Coe.
And Tom, will you please bring Madame Renee up to see me?
With even more pleasure, Miss Coe.
Paddy, tell me about everyone's activities last night.
Well, them two furriers, they left prompt at 5. Union rules, you know. Then I closed the back door, which has a spring lock, and come up here to the second floor to close the windows.
And Miss Thompson and Mr. Marshall, the salespeople, were out in the showroom?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Mr. Marshall had his coat and hat on. He told me he was going to sneak off early and asked would I punch the clock for him at 5:30. Well, such a thing is irregular, but a fellow never knows when he'll be needing a favor. So I told Mr. Marshall to go ahead. So downstairs he went. After shutting the windows, I went down myself. Miss Thompson checked out at 5:30, and so did Madame Renee, and so did I. I punched Mr. Marshall's card.
Where were Mr. Wallace and his son? Had they left?
Oh, yes. They're very seldom here after 4 o'clock.
Phil, here's Madame Renee.
Oh, thanks. Come in, Madame Renee. That's all, Paddy. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, Miss Coe. It's a pleasure.
Miss Coe, this robbery, it is terrible.
Yes, Madame Renee. And I hope you won't mind if I ask you a few questions.
Of course not.
What time did you leave the shop last night?
Exactly at 5:30. Miss Thompson and Paddy, they also leave at the same time.
Did you see Mr. Marshall leave?
Yes.
Do you know exactly what time that was?
Yes. I remember because I asked him what time it is. He took from his pocket his watch and say it is 10 minutes past 5. Then he went to the back door.
But you didn't actually see him go out the door, did you?
No, mademoiselle.
Where did you go when you left here?
To my home. I stayed in all evening and go to bed after listening to Steve Gilbert's news broadcast at 11. That is when I hear about this so awful robbery at the shop.
Oh, thank you, Madame Renee. Will you please wait outside?
Yes, Miss Coe.
Oh, Phil?
Yes, Tom?
I checked with Miss Thompson on her story. She says she left at 5:30 and was home all evening.
Thanks, Tom. And now, would you mind asking Mr. Wallace and his son to come upstairs?
Not at all. Are we getting warm?
Very. Mr. Marshall, would you come in here a moment, please?
Why, certainly, Miss Coe.
Now, Mr. Marshall, what time did you leave last night?
5:30, my usual time. That's easy to check on, of course. You'll find that time stamped on my time clock record.
Did you go out last evening after dinner?
No. The fact is, I had a beastly headache. I simply lounged around the house.
What time did you go to bed?
Gosh, I don't know. Oh, yes, I do, too. I remember turning on the radio to catch Steve Gilbert's news broadcast. Same old dull stuff. After it was over, I went to sleep. And this morning, when I read about the robbery, I was shocked beyond words.
Well, everyone's here now, Phil.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, Miss Coe, have you made any important discoveries?
Yes, Mr. Wallace. Very important ones.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you first how this robbery was carried out. One of you stayed here in the store last night. The thief hid in one of the closets in the furrier's room until all the others had checked out. Then came back upstairs and smashed the glass showcase, carried the coats downstairs, and passed them out through one of the barred windows to an accomplice. The thief then settled down for a quiet night. But Mr. Wallace came back unexpectedly to get some letters he'd forgotten to mail. He discovered the robbery and called the police. Meanwhile, the thief, panic-stricken, hid in one of these large sliding drawers. This one, in fact.
Oh, golly. That's the one we found the watch in.
That's right, Paddy. And this morning, the thief found it fairly simple to walk downstairs and punch the clock when Paddy was upstairs. And now, Mr. Marshall, I'm afraid you're going to have to do without your watch for quite some time to come.
Say, wait a minute. You can't pin this thing on me.
Hold on there, Marshal. You take one step, and I'll wrap this mop handle around your thieving neck.
Well, it looks as though you had me all right. Miss Coe, you're more clever than I'd heard you were. But maybe it was my own dumbness. If I hadn't lost that watch...
The nerve of you. And you made me check out for you last night, too. Well, thank heaven you dropped that watch. Or I might have been carted off to the hoosgow myself.
Things looked pretty dark there for young Ted Wallace, didn't they? Even Phyl Coe, the girl detective, was a little suspicious of him at first, until that fellow Marshall started making mistakes. Enter the great Philco Radio Mystery Contest now, if you haven't done so already. Keep trying every week, because every week there's a new program, a new contest, a new opportunity for you to win your share of the $50,000 in cash prizes awarded the winners in this contest where only skill counts. Your skill may win you a big weekly prize, maybe even one of the mammoth grand prizes. Some of you may not have your Philco Radio Mystery Book number 2 yet. Get it right away from your Philco Radio tube dealer. It's absolutely free. Nothing to buy, you know. Next week at this time, over this station, your Philco Radio tube dealer brings you another Philco mystery. Another opportunity in this amazing $50,000 cash prize contest. Names of major winners in this week's contest will be broadcast as soon as possible on a following Philco Radio Mystery program. Wouldn't it be swell to hear your name announced? Remember, the case of the Stolen Sables, which you've just heard, is the last mystery contained in the Philco Mystery Book number 2. Philco Radio Mystery Book number 3, with 4 more fascinating problems, is ready for you at your Philco tube dealer store. Free. Get yours now. Before next week's broadcast, have your radio tubes checked. Replace the worn-out ones with Philco tubes. Don't let poor reception rob you of any opportunity to win your share of that $50,000 in cash prizes. Be all ready to win when Philco, the girl detective, brings you another mystery. Next week, this time, this station.
Well, there you go. Another episode of Phyl Coe Mysteries, 86 years ago, October 26th, 1937, in the case of the Stolen Sables. And that's going to put a lid on this Thursday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A reminder to visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. There are all of our links to our social media there. Also, you can find our information on building a classic radio collection of your own. You'll find some things that would help enhance your listening experience there as well. And you can also, if you so desire, buy me a coffee. Or a Dr. Pepper, which is what it is. The function's called Buy Me a Coffee, but I don't drink coffee, so there you go. And we'll be back tomorrow with, what is it? We're doing comedy on our next edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Ozzie and Harriet, The Life of Riley, and Lum and Abner. That's all on our Friday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Hope you'll see your smiling ear right out there.